Hey everybody, Tonva Legend 826 here. So I'm figuring I'm gonna make another series on my channel. I've been making a couple of series on my four channels, making different videos. But on this channel, I'm gonna make a series based on a set of books that I grew up reading during my childhood, which honestly has a special place in my heart. And to this day, I still occasionally read fan fictions about it, and I still think it's an amazing series. And I'm obviously talking about the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling, which is obviously not a surprise because the series is obviously a beloved classic. It's obviously well loved by a lot of people around the world, not just in the United Kingdom, but pretty much everywhere, honestly, around the world, and the United States is no exception, obviously. So I figured I'd share my thoughts about the Harry Potter series. I'm gonna make a series called the Harry Potter Lore Series. So this is the first video of the Harry Potter Lore Series, and I'm gonna answer the question. I'm going to answer several questions about the Harry Potter series and several theories and several ideas of what could have happened in the series. But here's a question I'm going to answer that I think a lot of people have wondered. What would have happened if Harry Potter had been sworn to Slytherin instead of Gryffindor? So let me share my thoughts. So the first video of the Harry Potter lore series is what would have happened if Harry Potter had been sworn to Slytherin instead of Gryffindor. And so I'll answer the question. Now, Harry Potter, as you all know, was obviously sworn to Gryffindor in the series, obviously, in canon. He was sworn to Gryffindor, and, if you read the books, I don't want to give away too many spoiler alerts, but the books have been out for a long time, so there shouldn't be any excuse at this point, so there might be some spoiler alerts if you haven't seen the series. So obviously Harry befriends Ron in book 1, on the train ride, and then he meets Hermione Granger, who Harry is friendly with, but Ron not so much. But it's not until Harry and Ron save Hermione from a troll in October, like within 2 months of the school year, and then Hermione and Ron and Harry end up becoming best friends. So what would happen if Harry Potter was sworn to Slytherin instead of Gryffindor? Well, let me see. So let's just say that Harry and Draco. Now remember, Harry and Draco didn't meet the first time on the train. They met on the train the second time. The first time they met was in like Madame Malkin's, like in Diagon Alley in the book. In the movie, they met before the sorting. But in the book, Harry and Draco met, at Madame Malkin. So Harry meets Draco. And Draco starts acting arrogant, saying that, "Oh, I'm gonna bully my father into getting me a broom for Hogwarts. I'm gonna get into Slytherin. And I don't want to be in Hufflepuff and stuff like that. Sounding like Harry's cousin Dudley." Now, a lot of fan fictions, many fictions have covered what would happen if Harry got sword into Slytherin. There's so many fan fictions covering this issue, and I've read about a handful of them. There's obviously so many of them, so I obviously don't have time to read all of them. But a lot of them seem pretty interesting in detail, honestly, so I figured I'd share my thoughts about that. So Draco introduced himself. Well, Draco and Harry didn't know Draco didn't ask Harry's name or anything like that. He didn't know who Harry even was when Draco introduced himself to Harry. So, well, actually, he didn't introduce himself to Harry in Diagon Alley. He only did that like when they were on the train ride. But yeah, in Diagon Alley, Harry and Draco met each other, and Harry had a very negative impression of Draco during their first interaction, because Draco was acting arrogant. But what if Draco wasn't acting like an ass? Like, what if he treated Harry with respect or something? What if he asked what his surname was? What if he asked who he was? Like, he said, "I'm Draco Malfoy, who are you?" And then Harry introduces himself, as Harry Potter, and then Draco becomes interested in knowing him, and start talking about that. There's actually a series on fanfiction that actually covers this. What would have happened if Harry and Draco had befriended each other in Madame Malkin's, in Diagon Alley, and, if they started a friendship there. And it's actually called the They Shook Hands series on fanfiction. It's written by this author called Deathrow. I'm not sure if you know who he is, but he's the writer of the They Shook Hands series on fanfiction. He's written years 1 to 6. He's still writing year 7, but it's actually pretty good, honestly, in my opinion. I read years 1 to 6, and honestly, it's well written. It's excellent language. Dialogue. Gifted writing skills. I can see. Impressive language. It obviously wasn't sloppily written. He had drafts. And his first chapter. In his chapter, some of them are 10,000 words long, and for each chapter, I think, in some of these books. Yeah, from what I remember anyways. So anyway, in the series, in the They Shook Hands series, I'm not going to give away any spoiler alerts or anything like that, but for those of you who don't know, with those of you those of you who've already read the They Shook Hands series, Harry and Draco befriend each other, become friends, and Harry Potter gets sworn to Slytherin to be friends, join Draco and his other friends in Slytherin. in the They Shook Hands series. Now, I'm not going to give away too many spoiler alerts about that series because I don't want to give it away, but it's actually well written in my opinion. I actually like the They Shook Hands series better than canon, believe it or not. Yeah, I know. I like it when Harry gets sworn to Slytherin. All these theories that what if, and to make a long story short, I'm not giving away any spoilers or anything like that, but to make a long story short, Harry, I feel like, doesn't suffer as much as he does in canon. Like, in canon, Harry suffered a lot, but in the They Shook Hands series, Harry suffers, obviously, but he doesn't suffer as much, in my opinion. He doesn't go through as much loss as he went through in canon, but that's all I'm saying. No more details other than that. So, not going to give away too many spoiler alerts. But, so year one. So Harry, let's just say Harry befriends Draco for some reason, and then Harry decides to join Slytherin to be friends with Draco and to stay friends with him. But I mean, there's not really much hope this friendship is going to last for very long, because Harry and Draco are very two different personalities. Draco is arrogant, pampered, he grew up in a wealthy household. He doesn't know what true hardship or what adversity is like. Harry, on the other hand, was abused by his only living relatives, harassed by them, even by his own cousin, So Harry is completely different to Draco. He's obviously not pampered or spoiled. He's obviously learned depression, obviously faced depression and loss at a very young age. So he obviously has a different way of handling things in the world. He sees the world in a different perspective. And Draco may not have patience for Harry's lack of knowledge. Honestly, he may not have patience for a beginner, because there's a lot of things that Harry doesn't know about the Wizarding world, the things he ought to know, things he should know, but people have to fill in the details for him, and Draco might get tired of that, honestly, if Draco is that is assuming that Draco and Harry stay friends. Now, just because Harry and Draco are in the same house in Slytherin, that doesn't mean that they're going to become friends. Draco may not like the way Harry is welcoming towards Muggleborns and other students that are, different, quote unquote, that are not pure bloods or anyone who isn't Slytherin. Draco may not like the fact that Harry is hanging out with these people or associating himself with them. So their friendship may not last. They may not even be friends, honestly. Even if they are both in Slytherin, it may not be enough to, to become friends. Draco may have been friendly with a lot of people in Slytherin, but that doesn't mean that he and Harry are going to become friends, I'm just saying, because, Harry, we have to remember that Draco's parents worked for the same guy, the same person that murdered Harry's parents, so, the chance of Harry and Draco remaining friends could be very slim. I mean, Hagrid would not have approved this relationship. If Hagrid saw Harry and Draco interacting, Hagrid would have warned Harry right then and there. If Hagrid didn't warn him, then Sirius Black or Remus Lupin would have warned Harry about Draco's true intentions. Assuming that Harry and Draco remain friends for that long. Now there's other things that should be covered as well. So let's just go through a breakdown. Year one, Harry gets into Slytherin. He and Draco may not still be friends because they're obviously different personalities. Draco's arrogant and a bully, and Harry, of course, hates bullies because of experience and trauma for his own cousin. So they may not still be friends. They might be acquaintances at best, but maybe not bitter rivals like they were in canon. Maybe not sworn enemies, but they might be acquaintances. Probably neutral towards each other. Honestly, in honesty, because I would love to see Harry and Draco could be friends, but this is all just fan fiction, alternate universe theory. In reality, Harry and Draco might be acquaintances. Now, Snape. Now, this is an interesting perspective. Even if Harry's in Slytherin, Snape is not going to like Harry all of a sudden. I mean, it's not going to change the fact... Being in Slytherin doesn't change the fact that Harry is the son of the person who bullied him during his school years and married the love of his life. So, obviously, Snape is not going to, change his opinion towards Harry just because Harry is in the same house as he is. In Slytherin, yes, that would be a huge shock. Snape would definitely be surprised for sure, because Snape was obviously expecting Harry to be in Gryffindor, and Harry was sworn to Gryffindor in canon. But if Harry got sworn to Slytherin, in fanfiction, now that's something that we should definitely consider and think about. Snape would definitely be surprised, for sure, because he wouldn't expect Harry to wind up in his house, of all places, to be a Slytherin. That would definitely be a huge shock. Snape would definitely look at Harry suspiciously, honestly. He would still punish Harry for sure, because Harry has gone to a lot of trouble in the Harry Potter series, and Harry, being new with the world and not knowing how things are going in the Harry Potter universe, and without Harry, and assuming that Harry doesn't become friends with Ron and Hermione, without Ron and Hermione to guide Harry with Harry and Slytherin, then it's going to be much harder for Harry to keep up with his classes and stuff, and Harry's going to probably wind himself in some trouble, probably not follow some rules, probably break some rules. Snape is going to punish Harry. Obviously, he will, because Harry's going to offend him, and sooner or later, at one point or another, and Harry's going to offend Snape. Snape will punish Harry, for sure. He won't take away points from Slytherin. That's the only difference, Harry being Slytherin, gives Snape a problem, because Snape would like to punish Harry, just to because it feels like he's getting revenge against his high school bully. But, however, he can't take points away from Harry, because if he does, he'll be hurting his own house's performance for the House Cup. It'll be hurting Slytherin's chances of the House Cup if he takes away points from Harry. So Snape obviously will not take points away from Harry because it'll be coming from his own house, Slytherin. But he will do other things like give Harry detention, because that'll be enough to keep him in line and to punish him a little bit further and to make his school life miserable. So of course Harry's going to get detention one day and get detention another day. He's going to get many detentions during his first year, so it's going to be miserable for him. There's actually a fanfiction, Better Be Slytherin, on fanfiction that covers Harry's first year at Hogwarts when he gets sworn to Slytherin, and it shows Snape giving Harry multiple detentions because he can't take points away from Harry, so he's doing the only other thing he can do, give him detention. That way Snape can keep Harry in line. Slytherin's performance with House Cup is not punished, and Harry learns a few lessons along the way. So yeah, Snape is not going to take points off of Harry, and he may not even like Harry at all, even if Harry isn't Slytherin, because that doesn't change the fact that Harry is James's blood. He's his son, so Snape is still going to hate Harry for sure. Even if he gets sworn to Slytherin, it's going to be a huge shock for Snape, make no mistake, but Snape will definitely be suspicious of Harry at the very most, Now, obviously Harry wasn't paying attention during classes. He was goofing off, neglecting, chatting with Ron and Hermione. Now, if Harry was friends with Malfoy and friends with Draco and paying attention in class, of course, it's possible that Snape may actually come to respect Harry, maybe not hate Harry, maybe if he'd be neutral towards Harry at the very best, because I don't think Snape would ever respect Harry, even if Harry was doing well, even if he got O's, even if he was the best student in his potions class, Snape would still despise him, but he probably would not punish him as much, honestly. It's possible that Snape would like Harry if Harry was more respectful and more knowledgeable and knew more about potions, but this is all just fan fiction, like I said before, just fan fiction, alternate universe ideas, just ideas that you can use like on fan fiction or write whatever backstory you want, but in reality, Snape will just pick on Harry less because he's friends with Malfoy and because he's in Slytherin, and that way, and he won't take away points. That's the best he'll do, honestly. But yeah, the Slytherin Quidditch team. Now, Harry, of course, joined the Gryffindor Quidditch team during his first year, even though first years normally never made the house teams, because of his performance breaking the rules. Now, if this had happened in Slytherin, if Harry had been in Slytherin and if he had gone after that, remember all, Snape would definitely give him detention for sure. He would not give him a place on the Slytherin Quidditch team because the Slytherin Quidditch team already have a seeker. They already have Terrence Higgs, so they won't need Harry at all. So Harry won't be needed. Unless Snape finds Harry's flying skills impressive, then maybe he'll allow Harry to try out for the house team, but Snape will still give him detention for sure for breaking the rules, honestly, so many times, so yeah. So if Harry does join the house team for Slytherin, okay, yes. Then, maybe, he helps Slytherin win the Quidditch Cup, because Slytherin or Ravenclaw won the Quidditch Cup during Harry's first year, so Slytherin might win it again in canon with Harry's help, for sure. Slytherin would definitely have a much larger advantage, and there's so many theories that could come into play here. Maybe Harry, doesn't get into trouble as much with Snape keeping an eye on him. Maybe he doesn't get detention as much. Maybe he doesn't lose Slytherin as much points, But then that wouldn't be very interesting if Harry was, was safe and winning Slytherin points. I mean, he'd be happier, make no mistake, but it just wouldn't be very interesting for drama's sake, Of course, there's the chance that, Harry might like go after Quirrell on the Stone, go against Snape's orders and might even win Slytherin points, and Dumbledore might award Harry like points for Slytherin, and help Slytherin win the House Cup for the 7th year in a row. That's definitely a possibility, honestly. But that's just year 1, honestly, if what would happen if Harry had been sworn to Slytherin, and there's so many theories to go into. Year 2, there's Harry, since Ron isn't there with him, he can't fly the car to Hogwarts, so he's probably got to write a letter to Snape to get him out of there so Harry doesn't get into trouble, And then, Ron goes with the car, and Ron gets into trouble without Harry being there. So there's so many theories that could happen here, honestly. And Slytherin already has a seeker, Harry, so Draco doesn't join the team. Unless Draco buys his way on the team, then Harry might get replaced as probably a substitute seeker. Honestly, these are just theories, honestly. But these are just my thoughts. If Harry got sworn to Slytherin, he would not still be friends with Draco, and Snape would still despise him. And there's so many theories that could happen. I'm already writing a story about that, honestly, on fanfiction. But those are just my thoughts. This is Harry Potter lore number 1. What would happen if Harry got sworn to Slytherin? And how would that change the storyline? Those are just my thoughts. Tonva Legend, 826, out.